What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Work Knife Balance. I am pretty stoked to dive into the knife that we got on the table today. Came in a recent unboxing, and that's what you want to see. So let's just head to the top down. All right. Before we get too far, I want to go ahead and say thank you to anybody who's already liked and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. It's a great way to support the channel. You can also head over to Instagram and follow us at WorkKnifeBalance939. That's the best way to communicate with us, and then supporting us here with all the likes and subscribes that you get. If you already are subscribed to the channel, we appreciate that. If you're not and you like what we do, we would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. So, if you've already taken a look at the thumbnail or dove into the description, you probably know that we're taking a look at the Kizer Huldra here today. So this is one of the more newer premium Kizers. Comes in the Kizer coffin over here. It's pretty nice. I really like it. There are some things that I absolutely love about this knife, and there's some things that I'm okay with. So we'll go ahead and start with tip to tail measurements, and then we will do some side-by-side comparisons. I'll give you my overall opinions, and that'll be it. So let's go ahead and get started. Overall, tip to tail measurements, we are looking at about 7 point, well, if you come to the top of the clip versus the actual knife here, looking at about 7.75. But to the knife, we're saying about 7.6. And then the blade length, we're looking just over 3 inches with the cutting edge right at 3 inches. So, side-by-side comparisons, we'll go ahead and start with the NAFS Lander 2, put that one up top. We'll go ahead and put the, why not? We'll put the CDC Chicago down below there. We'll go ahead and do the New Breed EDC Clydesdale up top. Go ahead and get the We Vision Snex collaboration down below. Let's pull. This is a CJRB Warney Pyrite. I really like that knife. I pulled it out for another recent video that we did, and I've been carrying it more recently, and I love that knife. And for last but not least, just because we got it on the table, we've got the Kunwu Padre right there as well. So that is the DLC exclusive, all DLC REC exclusive Padre right there, which I absolutely love this knife. So yeah, there's some good side-by-side comparisons to the Kizer Huldra right there, and we have the overall measurements. Now let's get into kind of the fit, the feel, what I think about this knife, what I love about this knife. So we have a titanium frame lock knife. You've got a reverse flip right here, you've got a front flip at the top right here, and then you have a deep ground fuller or milled in fuller right here that you can actually flick off of, or you have the deployment hole that you can flick off of as well. It has a really snappy detent. That first kind of reverse flick was user error, that wasn't the detent. So it does have a really snappy detent, which works nice and is great for the action, open and close. This is sitting on absolutely one of my favorite steels, S35 VN. I think S35 VN steel is one of the most well-rounded and easily attainable steels. It's not going to be a super crazy, super corrosion resistant steel like Vanex or anything like that, but it is a very well-rounded when you think of corrosion resistant, edge retention, and hardness. This is probably one of my favorite S35 VN steels out there. So yeah, I really like the fact that they went with S35 VN. You have a reverse tanto blade here, and I really love the way that the edges come straight up, and it is a just really rock hard reverse tanto there. I don't know why I said rock hard. That's really kind of a weird descriptor for it there, but it is a kind of like textbook reverse tanto. There's no question on what this is. So I really like that. The ergos on the knife are fantastic. They have a really deep cutaway here. There's not a kind of traditional, I guess in my mind, traditional like anchor spot you see on a lot of knives. So you've got like your anchor spot here on the Chicago where your finger, your index can anchor in. You've got an anchor spot on the Veritas right here where your finger can anchor in as well. You've got an anchor spot on the Padre where your finger can anchor in as well right there. They kind of went with a different tactic on this, and it swoons in all the way over. And so you have this kind of big belly where your hand anchors rather than indexing to one finger. Now, you can feel the lock bar, because you can see it's cut down on one side for easy lock bar relief and then chamfered in there. So you can feel the lock bar when you kind of index yourself in there, and that's a really good way to kind of like, yes, I know I'm in the right spot, it feels good and everything's great. But this choice to have that big area and kind of wrap your fingers in there, I personally love because it fits my hand perfectly. I get a 4-finger purchase. I have really nice grip in here. I have a size large glove hand, and I will say it's pretty average. If you have a big hand, this probably, even though you've got a really nice handle, this probably might be a little small for you, to be honest. Just the way that it was, because you have to have your fingers rest in there because of that. And if you don't, I'm assuming it's probably not as comfortable as it feels right here. But go ahead, check a channel with someone who has a bigger hand and they might say something different. I really like the deep carry access on the clip here. I don't love how it is a wraparound clip. Those aren't my favorite. I don't really like the aesthetics. I hate how they poke out a little bit more. I love it if it just came right to the top and was put on the side. But you do have a kind of wraparound. It is a 3D clip is what they're calling it. It looks just kind of like a bent steel clip that comes in the top, wrapped over the top there. It's not like a milled clip to my understanding or anything. So I like that it's deep carry. I do not like that it sticks out over the top like that. And because it sticks out over the top and there's no access point on the other side, it's not reversible either. So if you're a lefty, that might be a deal breaker for you, but it is a really fantastic knife other than all of that. You have a super slicey blade, really good behind the edge here. Wow, words are just so complicated today. The jimping is different on both sides, so you have really nice jimping on the back right here, really deep, wide jimping, and I like that for the thumb a lot. And then on the back side for the flipper, you have smaller jimping, which is actually comfortable, much more comfortable than this thick jimping, which would be on the back here. So I do like the design. I know sometimes knife companies will say, hey, we want to match the jimping from the front to the back, and then you end up giving up something on one or the other. If you're not worried, because I'm not really going to see both of the jimpings at the same time of the aesthetics, I think this is the play. This is the good choice, because this is much better jimping on the backside than that thick wide jimping, and the thick wide jimping then for your thumb placement here feels great, and it's good for the front. It's well enough designed for the front flipper there. So yeah, when you look at this knife, I absolutely am just blown away by some of the aesthetics. I really love the kind of, it's almost like a rocket shape, because you got the flat bottom, then it would shoot off that way or whatnot. But it's I really like the squared away. I really like the squared away edges at the top. I really like the way that it kind of curves into the bottom, and then how they have the hard angles on the contouring. The hard angles on the contouring are a design choice that I am 100% behind. I think this is really cool. It just adds a little bit more to the aesthetics that you don't see very often in knives. And then the kind of minimalistic buttonish pivot right here. So you kind of have this really small pivot. I don't know what the hardware is. I'm assuming that looks like a T8 right there. And it looks like it might be T8 throughout. But this small button pivot versus something much larger like this, a large branding pivot like the Kubi has right here, or other knives, even when they have larger branding pivots. I think this is fantastic, and I really like that because it just kind of brings the aesthetics to the knife over all the little extra details that would be out there. So yeah, there is a very small, I don't know if you can call it a back spacer. I'm calling it a bottom spacer because there's really no pillars on the backside right here or anything, but the only, I guess, stability would be in this bottom spacer, and it cuts off before you hit the straight edges, which adds a really cool aesthetic to the knife, and you can look directly through the knife, which is kind of cool. And you can see that there is very minimal milling on the inside, both sides right there, to kind of slim down on the weight a little bit so it's not as heavy, but you still have a good hefty weight to this knife. Not a heavy knife, but a good kind of substantial weight that is going to make you think that this thing can take on the world. So yeah, there's not much left to talk about this. This is the Kizer Huldra. I believe these are coming in at around $160 on Kizer's website. That was a recent link that I just saw, and it had a sale going on for them, so that could be active still. Let's see if I can find it real quick. $150 actually, so they're $150 right now on Kizer's website. If it's something you want to pick up, I will go ahead and put that link below. If there's an Amazon link, it supports our channel. We greatly appreciate the support. Other than that, enjoy following the link and buying some sweet knives. But I don't have much else for you. Until next time, TTFN.